Definition of conscience, and we've seen what conscience is. And I began a minute ago, but for some reason my SD card is showing that it's full and it's not. I don't understand what's going on with my phone. I just got this phone. It's displaying some strange stuff. But anyway, and Adam knew Eve, his wife, and she conceived and bare Cain, and said, I have begotten a man of the Lord. And she again bare his brother, Abel. And Abel was a keeper of the sheep, but Cain was a tiller of the ground. And in the process of time it came to pass that Cain brought of the fruit of the ground an offering unto the Lord. And Abel, he also brought of the firstling of his flock, and of the fat thereof. And the Lord had respect unto Abel and his offering. And unto Cain and to his offering he had not respect. And Cain was very wroth, and his countenance fell. Now what we have here, we already looked at in the fact that God had prescribed for the family what the order was going to be for sacrifice. If you look in the book of Job, Job did sacrifices for his children. His conscience was letting him know that he needs to make a sacrifice for them. And it's because this is what God showed Adam. Adam taught it to Cain and Abel. Well, Cain felt like it would be good for him to just offer God his work. He's going by his own thing. And this is what the fruit of the knowledge of good and evil was all about. That tree had fruit on it that would cause a person to determine for himself what's right and wrong, and thus question all authority. And that's what brought death into the picture. So Cain had faith in what was passed down to him through his father Adam, and he gave the offering that was prescribed of God. But Cain thought in his own mind that his own good works would be good enough for God. So instead of having faith in what God prescribed, he decided to do his own thing. And this is why this took place. Now, the conscience being, as I'll read it again, it is the ethical aspect to one's conduct, together with the urge to prefer right and wrong, a source of moral or ethical judgment or pronouncement, and conformity to one's own sense of right conduct. The part of the superego and psychoanalysis that judges the ethics of one's actions and thoughts, and then transmits them the judgment to the ego. And so this judgment was supposed to come down from God, and what was passed down from Adam to Cain. But unfortunately, Cain decided he would do what he thought was right instead of following what the conscience said was right, because he was taught what was right. And then it says here, and this is what God says to him. He says, and the Lord said unto Cain, why art thou wroth, and why is thy countenance fallen? If thou doest well, shalt thou not be accepted? And if thou doest not well, sin lies at the door, and unto thee shall be his desire, and thou shalt rule over him. In other words, look, your sin nature is kicking in. Take control of it. That's what God is telling him. If you do well, what is doing well? If you do what I passed down to Adam for you to do, then will you not be accepted? You see? So now Abel's mad at God most likely, or not Abel, but Cain is mad at God most likely, because now God is telling him, I'm not accepting that, because you should have knew by faith what I passed down and did what I told, what you were told. And Cain talked with Abel his brother. And it came to pass when they were in the field that Cain arose up against Abel his brother and slew him. So exactly what God warned him happened. Sin is lying at the door. You better rule over it. You better take control of what you desire to do. And instead of doing what God said, he just let it take him right into what he wanted to do. And that's to kill his brother. And this is the very first murder. And Cain talked with Abel his brother, and it came to pass when they were in the field that Cain rose against Abel his brother and slew him. And the Lord said unto Cain, where is Abel thy brother? And he said, I know not. Am I my brother's keeper? And he said, what hast thou done? The voice of thy brother's blood crieth to me from the ground. And now thou art cursed from the earth, which has opened her mouth to receive thy brother's blood from thy hand. When thou tillest the ground, it shall not henceforth yield unto thee her strength. A fugitive and a vagabond shalt thou be in the earth. And Cain said unto the Lord, my punishment is greater than I can bear. Behold, thou hast driven me out this day from the face of the earth, and from thy face shall I be hid, and I shall be a fugitive and a vagabond in the earth, and it shall come to pass, every one that findeth me shall slay me. And the Lord said unto him, therefore whosoever slayeth Cain, vengeance shall be taken on him sevenfold. And the Lord set a mark upon Cain, lest any finding him should kill him. And Cain went out from the presence of the Lord, and dwelt in the land of Nod, which is east of Eden. And Cain knew his wife. Now later on they had children. So, it skips over, all of the generations that were born. And as you know, they lived hundreds and hundreds of years. So in the process of time, Cain was able to have a wife. So Cain knew his wife, and she conceived and bare Enoch. And he built the city and called the name of the city after its name of his son Enoch. And unto Enoch was born Irad, and Irad Mehujael, and Mehujael begot Methusael, and Methusael begot Lamech, and Lamech took unto him 2 wives, and the name of one was Ada, the name of the other Zillah. And Ada bare Jabal. He was the father of such who dwell in tents, and such as have cattle. And his brother's name was Jabal. He was the father of all such who as handled the harp and organ. And Zillah, she also bore Tubal Cain, an instructor of every artificer, brass and iron. And the sister of Tubal Cain was Naamah. And Lamech said unto his wife, Ada and Zillah, hear my voice, ye wives, Lamech, hearken unto my speech. For I have slain a man to my wounding, and a young man to my hurt. If Cain shall be avenged sevenfold, truly Lamech 77fold. And Adam knew his wife again, and she bare a son, and called his name Seth. For God said she, hath appointed me another seed instead of Abel, whom Cain slew. And to Seth, to him also were born a son, and he called his name Enos. Then began men to call upon the name of the Lord. Now that statement there, men began to call upon the name of the Lord, it has a particular word in there that means that men began to defile calling on the name of the Lord. So this is around the time when the angels, the fallen angels came down and started teaching these dudes some stuff. You'll see in the book of Enoch where they taught them magic arts, taught them all kinds of carving of weapons and things like that. We'll get more into that when we get into chapter 6. So we see here that at the beginning of conscience, one man already violated his conscience, and now it's beginning to spread, and we begin to see the effects of sin in the earth. So with that, may God richly bless you.